All right, we're going in blind. I put a bunch of videos I took together to talk about the next steps on this diorama. So I added a fence. This is at the Hive Scum studio. We're just like doing a hangout day. Everybody's making various dioramas and stuff. It's been snowing a lot lately. It's Catopia over here. Trying to get stuff done, but it's just taking a long time. So these are the next few steps. Most of this video is going to be on getting the majority of these guys painted, and I want to talk about like the inspiration, like these Edward Detail paintings, these Keith Rocco paintings. These are all kind of depicting how I want this diorama to look, or like the general inspiration. Hectic, chaotic combat. So let's jump into it. Okay, all right, everybody. I painted the base colors of their blouses and their trousers, their sack coats and their trousers, as we've talked about before. So we're not going to go nuts on the ins and outs of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and what colors I'm using and all that jazz, because once again, you can ask me if you have, really you're pining after an answer as to what exact black I'm using on his cartridge box here. But I will tell you another secret. It doesn't matter. It's just black, as long as it's not like crazy glossy or whatever. And even if it is a little glossy, some of the leathers were honestly pretty glossed up. But I'm speeding through this. So we got the canteens here. I'm doing like various tones in the canteens. So some original canteens, a lot of original canteens were just covered in essentially the same stuff as the blankets for the Union Army. Some were covered in light blue fabric, various tones of gray and brown and stuff, whatever the Federal Army contractors essentially could get their hands on. There's some pretty wild like stripe canteen covers that I'm not depicting on these because A, they're not the norm, and B, I don't want to like take away or distract too much from the overall story being told. You can see me doing the enlisted blankets on these guys. I threw a couple, I think you'll see in a little bit, I threw a couple of red blankets in this crew, mostly because, well, I like red issue state blankets. I think that's really, or like government blankets for the Union Army. A lot of New England regiments were issued them early on in the war, but you see them pop up, especially in like paintings. You see them pop up a lot. There we go. There's a little red boy. You see them pop up a lot. Enough to warrant a couple in this, and I think that that's like a fun little pop of color that isn't too distracting. Still arguably pretty uniform. We've got 3 or 4 guys with them, and then everyone else is going to have bog standard Federal Army blankets, like a medium brown tone blanket. Here's the captain of the regiment, or sorry, the captain of the company. Oh my god. He's the only officer I'm going to have in this diorama, and he's getting gut shot. It's kind of cool. Cool pose, that is. Getting gut shot is not cool, but the pose I really like. It's neat, and I really like the idea of circling back to Vortex of Hell, the game I wrote that these guys are kind of the display piece for. Your officers are going to get plugged all the time, depending on how you're organizing your battalion and your companies. And if you get too close, your officers are more than likely gonna get shot. So I like the idea of portraying the officer on this little diorama getting blasted in the gut. We're working on some brass here, going back to the officer apparently, doing some metallics on his saber or his sword. Yeah, he's got a straight sword on. But yeah, I really like how these guys came out or are coming out as we watch this. Just, I'm not doing anything really nuts on them painting wise. It's just, the classic base coat, a little wash here and there, highlights, bring down some tones, bring up some tones, spend a little bit of time on their skin, but not nearly as much as I probably should have. But everyone's got eyes, everyone's teeth that are exposed. It reads well. Some of the sash and saber sculpts I'm using for this, the faces are like along the mold line or something like that. So some of these faces are pretty goofy, and I'll just hide them in the diorama, kind of in, you know, behind other guys, or there won't be focal points. So in my mind, it'll be okay. And if anything, I'll just swap them out with new guys. If I need to paint more guys, I will. I'll tell you a kind of a spoiler for the video. I definitely need more guys than just these 18 here. So I'm waiting on, I may have mentioned this in the last video, I'm waiting on another pack from Sash and Saber to come in the mail so I can populate this with a couple more guys, but I'll talk about that later. Here's a red blanket feller doing some cleanup, doing some skins now, bringing up the skin tones, trying to make them look unique, and I'll add some 5 o'clock shadows and whatnot too. And some of the guys doing some blonde hair, brown hair, black hair. I don't know if you can hear, my cat is freaking out in the hallway right now, playing with 8 toys. This guy will end up being kind of our hero of this video, just because he's the guy I'm gonna keep going back to and show you what I'm doing. So we're building up the dark blues for his blouse there. And now we're going back and doing the same for his trousers. I want to just get like nice even coverage on those, because these guys are fairly simple in the grand scheme of things. They've got a lot of straps, and you know, they've got their leathers, their haversack strap, their canteen strap, and blah blah blah. Their cross straps on their knapsack, and their knapsack straps themselves. So there's lots going on their chest, but it's all really, if you break this down to like the basic of the color palette, it's just a sky blue, a dark blue, and a, you know, black and some browns. So it is pretty straightforward. It's just being clean about your lines and going back and cleaning up messes and keeping colors where they need to be. Here's me apparently. Oh yeah, okay. Just moving those guys over. I haven't really, you can see the casualties in the back there, by the way, too, and I haven't really touched them other than some base coats. So the idea is to finish the majority of the bulk of the guys standing up in the diorama, and then I'm gonna populate the casualties at the end anyway. So like once it's all based and grassed and all that stuff, like it's all the static grasses on, the clumps are on, and the blah blah blah. So the casualties will go on last anyway. So they're kind of lower on the totem pole right now for painting importance. What am I talking about? As you can see in this extremely blurry video that's way too far away, I'm painting some detail on his face. I think I'm going, yeah, I went in with some washes. Now I'm cleaning up some blacks and doing a little bit of like a really like dark gray highlight almost on some of the edges. Just helps the leather look a little worn. And what am I doing? Oh yeah, I'm doing his eyes. So he's got some little white eyes. And now, because this guy is an exposed inside of his forge cap, I'm putting a little label inside his forge cap. It just looks like a little white blob. And then here's the writing on the label that almost totally hid what I did. But for a very keen-eyed viewer, you'll see the little label inside his forge cap. And here's some more highlights. Going pretty light on this guy. Some of the guys, I gave him like sunburnt noses and sunburnt cheeks and stuff. Some of these guys are kind of pale. In reality, they should all be pretty aggressively sunburned and pretty like, imagine like, you know those photos of like truckers, like long haul truckers that are like have like awful leathery skin. That's what I imagine all these Civil War guys were like in their, you know, in their early 20s, just 4 straight years of being outside in the sun, with no, obviously, you know, no sun protection other than hats. There he is. Oh, a little. I did zoom. Wow, look at that. So you can see, like, you know, did the brass, did everything. If you want to learn how to paint federal soldiers, I've got a different video about it. Nice little pop of color here. So early on in the Civil War, most federal canteen slings were like a brown or a black leather, and then as you move into the war more, the Federal Army starts issuing out cotton slings and all sorts of things. So I'm going with like a, you know, a nice cotton sling look for all these guys, and it's a nice pop on their otherwise very dark torsos. Here's the captain. I don't know, I did something. Oh yeah, I cleaned up his hat a little bit. Now I'm painting in core badges. So did I talk about this before? I think I did in my other video, but real quick, these guys are second core first division. So they're little like red trefoils. And I think they're the 52nd New York is like what I kind of landed on. Those are the 52nd New York flags right there. I'll say something about these flags though. I'm not very happy with them for 28 mil scale because flags are huge. Like real Civil War flags. I've examined plenty of them. I've seen even more than I've seen a lot in person. And they're gigantic. I mean, we have the dimensions for these flags. I'm pretty sure that, actually, I'm almost positive the regimental flag from this regiment still exists. But these flags are a little too small. That's what I'm getting at. But I did do some cool casualties. So this guy's getting obviously like hit in the face, and I wanted there to be more gore in this because the Civil War was awful. So I used Dirty Down Snot, which you just saw, and I added Blood for the Blood God to give it that bloody viscera. So this guy, a ball is clearly passing through him and exiting him. Civil War bullets and Civil War wounds were horrible. And while we are wargaming and having fun, I really want this diorama to depict, like I said earlier, just awful, heinous Civil War combat. It was bad. I mean, pieces of bone from your comrades would get lodged into you if you're close enough to them getting hit. Yeah, it's awful. Anyway, I got to add some trouser stripes to the color sergeants, and got to do other things like that. Here's our running away guy. I really like that pose. Here's another guy, red blanket guy. Everyone's happy. Yeah, I mean, these guys are pretty good. What I'm gonna do with them is like they're all at like essentially a finished point now, like a little higher than tabletop standard as far as like the faces and little teeny tiny details. But once they're all set on the diorama, like at the end, I'm gonna go in and I'd like to really go and add some detail. Here's the officer. He's clearly a self-insert, as we can see here. I realized that as I was painting him. I'm like, oh, that's me. And then here we go. I primed the whole base with a Mod Podge and black paint mix, and then once that was dry, I kind of added my 2 anchor points. So the company officer on their right of the line, I guess the left of the diorama, and then the regimental color bearer. And then I'm just slowly, as these videos progress, I'm slowly building up where I want this line to be, like what's realistic to me. As a battalion would surge forward, obviously there would be ebbs and flows in the line, so I'm going to try to make it look a little unorganized while still keeping that line. I realized I needed to do a brown base because while I'm going to build this up with like textures and things like that, I thought a brown would be good just in case anything showed through. So once that dried, I started building out the company here, the color company. So the color guard is 3 deep as it would have been. They've taken some casualties, so there's like 6 guys left in the color guard. One's going down. And then the guy to the left of the color guard is from the next company over. I just did for some context. Here's a battalion fronted. And we're talking about like where these guys are in the battalion. So, and in this company and the diorama, and for the game Vortex of Hell, which is more important. So we've got the captain on the right of the company. So I'm going back to this picture from earlier. It's just a great depiction of it. So we've got me as the captain here, the company commander. Then behind me is the first sergeant. Then next to me would be the first corporal. And then we've got like the enlisted men who fill out the company. There's 2 corporals in the center of the company. This is all like to keep dress. And then we've got the 4th corporal way on the end, the left end of the company, and he's next to the next company commander, if that makes sense. So on the diorama, we can see the wounded, hello kitty, the wounded captain on the left there, in world there right. You can see the company next to them. That guy next to him on his right would be the 4th corporal. That guy right there. And I'm just pointing that I need to add like chevrons to guys. And now that I've placed some guys in specific spots, I've got to add like specific sergeant chevrons and corporal chevrons, because that's who they are in line. Look at this. It's actually looking kind of cool. I'm pretty stoked. As you can see, there's pretty giant gaps. I've added some unpainted USCT guys just as like filler right now to see how many more miniatures I realistically have to paint to make these guys, make this company kind of filled out and give some more life to this, because I want them to be really stacked in there. Okay, it's done. Next video will be whenever I start working on this more. Goodbye.